Alright, so before we get into today's video, I owe you guys a bit of an update. Now, I know this week I've been a bit slack on uploading reels, and to be honest, quite a lot has been going on. I actually lost my job, so it's not actually been that great of a week, but there's an upside, like there is to everything. It means that I've got way more time to focus on the production company and to focus on making videos for you guys. So we're ramping a few things up. In the description of this video is a Google Forms link. Now this link is so that you can submit your edits so I can make a video critiquing them. Now at the moment there is one person that has filled out this form. If you are watching this and you are that person, thank you very much. I haven't actually watched your edit yet, so I was gonna wait until I actually do this video. Obviously we are in the lovely,
simply lovely, I tell you that,
office. Now let's get on to the actual video, shall we? Last weekend I wrapped up a motorsports video for a rider called Lewis Adams, and quite honestly I learned a lot from it. So in this video we're going to break down the 5 things I learned from that shoot. We're going to go through things I got wrong, what I can learn from it, and how you can implement it going into your shoots. Number 1, exposure. So the first lesson is all about exposure. I messed up a few times with this shoot with how bright some of the videos were. Let me just overlay the worst example. Some were just too bright, and honestly it's one of those things that can just pull you out of a great sequence. The lesson here is I need to learn my camera a bit better. This was the first shoot that I used the FX30 for, so I was kind of still playing around with settings and how to kind of maneuver around the camera, and I just need to be way more intentional with checking each shot, because especially in a pit lane it's very easy to run and gun and kind of trust that your camera's at the right settings, when really you should just kind of check it. I know it's on a small monitor on the camera, but really you should just check it, because little mistakes can just creep in. You know, I got a brilliant shot of him pulling out of his gazebo tent thing, and it wasn't really usable unless I played around with it heavily in post-production. A potential solution for me going forward is to invest in a monitor that I can mount on top, and I get a bigger picture and can see kind of what's going on better. That doesn't really excuse the shot that I took. So the second lesson is a personal one. You might not have this issue, but I need to stop being afraid to ask for specific shots. I had a few really nice shots planned. We'd come up with a shot list for a client. I'd use Notion. If you want to see how I plan and prepare for a shoot, then let me know in the comments below and maybe I'll make that video next. So obviously I'd made a client shot list. I sent that off to him, here's a screenshot, and I made sure that he was okay with it. Everything was on there that he wanted. There was kind of vague ones and then there was more specific ones, and a couple of the specific ones I didn't manage to get for whatever reason. And the reason I didn't ask to get them is because I hesitated. I didn't want to interrupt him getting ready for races or him doing any preparation for races. But the reality is, if it's part of the creative vision, just speak up, because if they don't have the time to do it, then potentially at the end of the day you can do it and kind of slot it in. So the lesson I learned was to just be bold. Stick to the shot list and don't be afraid to ask to get the specific shot. The client wants you to get the best result possible, and often they'll give you an extra 30 seconds to nail that shot properly. Now lesson 3 is to prepare for unexpected changes. Yeah. Unexpected changes can happen, especially in motorsports videos, and I tell you why. On day 2, during the first race, Lewis crashed out. Thankfully, it was nothing major, there was just a few scuff marks, the back end just went out and he slid. But I missed a few potentially very powerful moments for the big main edit that he'd paid for. For example, when the race finished, all the riders came into where I was standing. Now, Lewis wasn't there, so I thought, well, I'll go back to his gazebo and we will wait for him there. You know, if I was going to hear anything, then his wife would hear, his dad would hear, etc, etc. However, at this time his wife was running over to the gazebo, and now I could have got a very good shot of her panicking, worrying, and kind of mixed in that emotion. But unfortunately I didn't do that. Part of me didn't do that because I didn't think it was right to, if I'm being honest. I didn't think it was the right time because I didn't know if it was okay. I didn't know if there was a problem. And really, if the man ended up in intensive care because the crash was that bad and I'd just been stood filming his wife worrying, I think I would have felt awful, if that makes sense. However, I kind of managed to salvage this as he came riding back after he'd picked the bike up and got off the track and started fixing the bike. Now, at the end of each day, we did a race report, and in the second day's race report, he talked about the crash. So what I was able to do was kind of overlay that audio, echo it, make it sound all kind of ethereal, and then overlay footage from him fixing the bike, talking about the crash, and it kind of worked, but I wish I'd have got that shot. It's going to haunt me, I tell you that.
Binned it, went 5 laps in, lit back end up at Goddard's, lost that. Not a bad crash. Needed to do a little bit of work.
So really the lesson here is to just be prepared for unexpected changes. Whether it's crashes, bad weather, schedule changes, keep your eyes open for opportunities to capture moments that can tell the story beyond the planned shoot. Number 4, deliver early. Now, number 4 is a big one for client trust. Always deliver early. If you get asked when you can deliver a project, say 2 days after you think you can do it. Because then if there's any changes or anything goes wrong, you have that extra time. On Sunday night, just before I left, I got asked when the video will be ready. So I said Friday, which is actually today when I'm filming this. I know I've been busy this week, which might not sound like it because I lost my job, but I have been busy. Now, the deliverables for this project was 1 main edit, 3 social media reels, and 2 race report reels that were filmed and edited on site, just to kind of get them over to him at the time so that he can post them at the end of each day. And then after final payment, sending all the raw files over, which are actually transferring. We've got 50% of the way on the transfer. It's been going on since 9 o'clock this morning. But like I say, I gave a date 2 days after I thought I could finish it. So I got it to him Wednesday night. It was probably about midnight, which then for him would then technically be Thursday, but it was still earlier than I'd promised. Now, I picked this up from someone called Jamie Brindle on Instagram. Brilliant guy for kind of learning more about the freelance world and kind of how to keep clients happy. Honestly, it's such an obviously smart thing to do. I have seen people say, yeah, I'll give it to you in a day, and then they've failed and they've had to take an extra 3 days. Like, you know, just promise later than you think. The lesson really is underpromise, overdeliver. If I finish early, a client's happy with me. If something goes wrong, I've got breathing room. It's kind of a win-win situation. Now, number 5, communication is king. Now, the final lesson of this video is something I've been working on actually. It's communication. I already knew Lewis from previous shoots when I went to Cadwell Park. Obviously, I made a video about filming on the Pocket 3. But I also knew a bunch of other riders that were racing at Donington Park last weekend. So during the downtime, I would check in with Lewis first, see what his plan is, see whether anything would be needing filming, because especially on the Sunday, I had taken most of the paddock shots on the Saturday. So it was only when like tyres were being changed and there was uncertainty that I kind of filmed in the paddock on Sunday. But I would always ask, is there anything you need? Is there any shots that you want to take? Make sure I wasn't missing anything. And then I would say to him, look, am I all right to go and see the people that I already know? He was completely fine with that. I'll just throw that one out there. He already knew that I knew other riders around the paddock, and it was a great networking place. I know I shouldn't be networking with riders that have little to no money to race, but there's still money there, if that makes sense. At the moment, I've got 2 kind of confirmed clients just from those races, and probably about 10 potential clients from those races. So there is that pool there to kind of pick from and say, look, are you needing anything filming? Is there anything that you want me to do? You know, I can already sell myself because they've seen the projects that I've done. And Cadwell Park was filmed on this iPhone. So if you're worried about starting and you just have an iPhone, you know, iPhone 16 Pro Max or any phone, You can make a video with that, I promise you. Obviously this weekend was filmed on the FX30, but you know, we're building that out. That's something new that I've got. But I also made a point to lay out my plan for the day, what I'm going to be shooting, where I'm going to be shooting it, and then I would ask for his. Once we got to the editing stage, I would make it a point to keep him updated with what progress we were at. So like when the reels have been made, right? Okay, I've got 2 reels already made. I need to make the 3rd one, and then it's the main edit. Sound. I would say, okay, well, here's a down resolution version. Is there any changes you want to make? Is there anything that you want to add in, maybe take out? You know, is there a different way you want to go about it? All of that. And the lesson there really is communication is king. Whether it's during filming, post-production, clear communication just makes everything a lot easier. And it builds trust with your client so that they know where you're at and that you haven't just forgotten about them. So these are my 5 key lessons from last weekend's shoot. Exposure, being bold with shots, preparing for an unexpected event, under-promising and over-delivering, and communication. All simple, but honestly they're the difference between a good shoot and a great one. I honestly hope some of these help you avoid the same mistakes and level up your shoots. And finally, don't forget the Google form link in the description. I want to see your edits and make a video of it. If you've got an edit that you want me to watch and give some feedback on, submit it there and I'll feature it in the video. But honestly, thank you for 57 subscribers. You know, it's a bit of a jump. It's not as much of a jump as I've had in the last couple of weeks, but it's still a jump this week. I'm really excited about what lies ahead, you know, with this channel, with the production company, and obviously I'll be taking you guys with me wherever, especially if I'm gonna end up doing like MotoGP or F1 shoots. That is the goal. I'm calling it now, 2026 F1. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, then please leave a like, leave a subscribe, comment your thoughts down below because I'd love to hear it, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.